and welcome to our third episode of Factoring Polynomials. Today we're going to talk about factoring a trinomial where our leading coefficient is not 1 and we cannot factor it out. So let's go ahead and get started. We have 25r to the second plus 20r minus 45. First thing, whenever we're factoring, we always want to look to do is see if there's any GCF. If you look closely, you'll see that 5 divides into each one of these. So that's what I'm going to do first. Factor out the GCF. Factor out 5, and then divide each one of these by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5r to the second. 20r divided by 5 would be positive 4r. And negative 45 divided by 5 is negative 9. Just like in previous videos, I don't want this to confuse what we're working on, but I don't want to forget about it. So I always like to circle it and bring it down below so we don't forget about it. Now we can focus on this 5r squared plus 4r minus 9. Now, we couldn't get rid of this leading coefficient. So here's what we're going to do. We need to multiply 5 and negative 9. That gives us negative 45. We need two numbers that multiply to give us negative 45. But they also have to add up to give us this middle number. The middle number is 4. So, two numbers that multiply to give us negative 45 and add up to give us 4. Because it multiplies to give us negative, we need one positive and one negative. And because the two numbers add up to give you a positive, our positive number better be larger. These are some of the strategies behind the scenes that you have to try to remember to help yourself out. Now, we could try 15 and negative 3, 45 and negative 1, but I think I'm going to try 9, positive 9, and negative 5. And that does, in fact, add up to give you positive 4. If for some reason you chose to do negative 9 and positive 5, which does multiply to give you negative 45, you would have gotten negative 4. You notice this sum is opposite of what you want, simply switch the signs. So we want to use these two numbers here. Now, we can't do what we did before and just make our groups. We need to rewrite this trinomial as 4 terms. So the 5r squared is going to come all the way down. Our negative 9 is going to come down. And we're going to take these two numbers, put them in the middle with r's attached to them. It doesn't matter which comes first. I always like to have my third number be positive, and you'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to put minus 5r plus 9r. But again, it doesn't make a difference if you flip these around. Now what we're going to do is whenever we have 4 terms, we're going to factor by grouping. We're going to do this in this episode as well as you'll see in another episode. So I'm going to group the first two together, 5r squared and negative 5r, plus 9r minus 9. If this was a minus, I would suggest putting the minus on the inside and putting a plus between. We always want a plus sign right in here. Now factor out GCF of this first group, and 5r divides into both of those. So 5r squared divided by 5r is r, minus 5r divided by 5r is just 1, plus the GCF of this group is 9. And when you divide each of these by 9, 9r divided by 9 is r, and negative 9 divided by 9 is minus 1. In order for this to work, this group and this group must be the same, and it is in fact the same. So you factor out the r minus 1, treating it like a GCF. So both of these come on the outside, but you don't write it twice, you write it once. Next, you write what's left, and we have a 5r and a plus 9. So this 5r squared plus 4r minus 9 factors into r minus 1 times 5r plus 9. But don't forget we had that 5 at the beginning. So for a final answer, we want 5 times r minus 1 times 5r plus 9. And again, it doesn't matter what order we put these three factors in because multiplication is commutative. If you have any questions, again, go back and take a look at the individual steps to help you out. and enjoy this factoring strategy.